of these, mostly because the side effects of the chemo were really crushing my ability to have any energy whatsoever. I think the last one I made was probably prior to the first Signatera test back in November. There were some difficulties with getting that back for some reason based on pathology, but that did come back about 2 weeks ago, and it was negative, which was taken between the fourth and fifth round of chemo. And as of 2 weeks ago, I finished all 8 rounds of chemo. What that means is we've completed the treatment cycle for this, and we will be able to tell if it's worked. On the 5th of March will be the CT scan, and my referral, I just got notified today that it was approved for the colonoscopy. So that'll be scheduled hopefully in at about the same time. I posted on Facebook kind of what the treatment plan going forward is, and in accordance with the National Comprehensive Cancer Network guide for colon cancer, because that's the protocols they used. We are officially in the surveillance mode. So what that really means is with a Signatera test quarterly, the CEA test quarterly, every 3 months. CT scan will start again every 6 to 12 months in the first 2 years, 2 to 3 years, with March 5th being the first one. And then we'll continue all these surveillance regardless of what's found for 5 years. Colonoscopy is the same. It'll be every 3 to 6 months. This, if I get it done in March, will be almost the 10-month mark since surgery. Set the baseline, and it's just the frequency of the testing to provide early warning if and when it spreads. We may do genetic screening as well, but from the initial feedback we got, this was not genetic at all. But I'm higher risk because my mom has terminal pancreatic cancer. So we'll go forward with that. And hopefully by the end of March, we'll have both the colonoscopy and the CT scan back to see if it's spread at all. And that will set the mark for additional treatment if necessary. But obviously we're hoping and praying that we got it all, especially based on the severity of side effects. And just for those that may be going through similar circumstances, we were hoping, or at least I was hoping probably naively, that the effects and side effects would not accumulate or increase exponentially, but they definitely did. On the 8th round, although we've gotten to where we had managed the nausea, still had severe neuropathy. Most of that's starting to wear off now that we're almost 2 weeks from the last dose of chemo. Still sensitivity to cold, and the 8th round was definitely the most severe with fatigue. I was sleeping 16 to 18 hours a day, and it would just wore me out more than any of the other rounds. But since completing all that, we're about to hit the 2-week mark on Thursday. I have gotten enough energy back where I'm starting to exercise again, which is good, especially since I put on about 20 pounds from the fatigue and the chemo. Last week was able to work out 4 times, and it's amazing how much after having no exercise, you begin to long for it in a good way. And it was definitely a morale boost to be able to get out and run, even though it was extremely slow, and to get in the gym and lift some weights again and just start to slowly retrain my mind and my body and my discipline as we tested against the strength that I'm at now, which is probably the weakest I've ever been. Same for the cardio, but huge blessing to be able to get out, run, ride the bike, lift, and just get out and enjoy the beautiful creation here in Hawaii, and definitely in warmer temperatures to be able to to exercise and not have to deal with some of the impacts of the cold that we'd have anywhere else. Also, while in the last round, Amber and I renewed our vows. We posted that video and pics to Facebook. That was an awesome event to continue to plan things and move forward with what you can control in the known, especially with a cancer like this that's so rare. All these treatment techniques are just best, honestly, just the best guess of the doctors of what may work. And we still went through all that chemotherapy for 6 months, and we don't know the outcome of whether or not it worked. So you can't focus on that. You got to stay focused on what you can control. It's going to develop patience in a way that you probably have never had it tested before. But faith, having faith, putting your hope in the great physician and our creator still can bring joy, and you can find joy in the moment each day. I still continue to do things as a family, and now that I'm getting energy back, going back to the beach, even if I can only sit there and watch the girls play or swim, and it's just slowly getting back into the routine of everyday life as my energy comes back, and we can test what I'm capable of doing. A couple of encouraging scriptures I came across in the last couple of days in my readings that hopefully will encourage you as a believer, and even if you're not, you can see hopefully what gives me a hope and strength. And in John 10 verses 27 to 29, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, and I give eternal life to them, and they shall never perish, and no one shall snatch them out of my hand. My Father, who has given them to me, is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of the Father's hand. I and the Father are one. So even though we don't know the outcome, whether it's going to mean more tests, more treatment, more pain and suffering, we're getting a temporary reprieve here, which feels amazing. It's good for the spirit. But also, in light of eternity, this pain and suffering in this life pale in comparison. And as believers, we are held in God's hands, and the Son, we belong to the Son because of what Jesus Christ has done, and nobody can snatch us out of the Father's hand. So the peace that brings, and the hope and the joy, make the hard days, the suffering of the treatment, for sure bearable, knowing that we've already won. And then in Psalm 25, verses 4 to 5, make me know thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths, lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. For thee I wait all the day. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've struggled with is you're going through a lot, obviously, with treatment and with cancer. There's still things that we don't know. We're working through potentially a PCS, if that's God's will, getting me closer to family as my mom continues to fight through stage 4 with her cancer, and it's spreading. Also closer to KU Medical Center, that's got some doctors that have experience with appendix cancer, not so much the type I have, but better research capabilities, more centrally located, where if I need to fly for care, I can, if that becomes a necessity. So we're continuing to plan through courses of action and options, not knowing where this is going to lead, and just trusting God with the outcome. And I think that's the best anybody can do, regardless of whether or not you're facing cancer or not. Living in the moment, seeing each day as a blessing, enjoying the time that we do have with family and friends, and then just trusting God to heal us and bring us through the challenges that we face. The next video I'll make finally think I'm ready to share my testimony, which I was getting beat down pretty bad from the chemo, so I just didn't feel like I was ready. There's probably more an excuse than anything else. I'm going to try to get that together this week. And then as we get closer to these test results, um, PCS planning and how to do that medically are all things that we're learning in the process, and definitely building the book and the digital version of BIF so we can build a right seat, left seat with providers that have managed my care over the last almost year or a year by the time we leave, and can quickly transition where we don't miss any of the surveillance timing and steps into a different medical center that has different systems from MH Genesis. I'm sure they have my chart similar to MD Anderson. So we'll have to transfer digitally, make sure we have a solid contact roster for all the providers across the board, from surgical intervention through oncology and chemo support. And then whatever we may or may not have to do prior to departure, if treatment is necessary because of spread. So there's a ton that we're planning for and hoping and praying for the best, that God's got this under control, and that it hasn't spread, and we can potentially look at no evidence of disease come April, May. It won't mean we won't stop surveillance. That's going to go on for the next 5 years, but at least we'll have a better footing and feel more confident in the PCS move and the future ability to serve in the military, which ultimately would be my desire, to continue to lead and serve others in this nation. And we will see if that's going to be a possibility here in the next couple of months. So thank you again for all your prayers and support. We definitely appreciate it. There's still a lot that's out there that we don't know and can't anticipate, and only God knows. But we're confident that we're moving in the right direction, and we will continue to keep you guys updated on Facebook and YouTube as well. I've been pretty bad about it. But thank you. Have a great rest of President's Day.